Have you ever noticed the narrational shifts in Vertigo, which are so crucial to how the film works? It's a film that relies on subjective perspective. Scottie's psychology drives the narrative, as demonstrated in this scene when he sees Madeline for the first time. Though Scottie's look sets up her introduction, the editing is discontinuous. As we'll see, the camera doesn't approach her from Scottie's POV. Instead, motivated by his look, it tracks back from him to slowly track in to Madeline. The camera's track in, which subtly dips to her level, works with setting, staging, and costuming to single her out from the crowd. We don't see her face, but we know she's beautiful, singular, and significant. We cut back to Scottie, then to his POV of Madeline, who's framed within the frame, another way of indicating her importance and singling her out. At this moment, she's Scottie's focus, his primary mission objective, and ours too, as we look along with and as Scottie. But then, Hitchcock sets up a moment of intense intimacy, cutting back and forth between Madeline and Scottie in close-up and in close proximity. The lighting also slightly intensifies when Madeline looks towards Scottie and dims when she looks away. This scene doesn't just use first-person narration, it's also expressionistic, using visual language to express and inspire a subjective response, to help us understand that Madeline is attractive and that Scottie is attracted to her. In the first act, as he follows Madeline, this narrational stance sets up one of Hitchcock's favorite thematic explorations: voyeurism and its cinematic equivalent. Hitchcock makes Scottie's watching explicit, just as he makes the pleasure Scottie increasingly enjoys because of this watching part of the narrative, part of the, quote, love story. But this love story is completely based on Scottie's transformation of Madeline into a kind of motion picture, his living fantasy, a reflection of reality. Since we're watching along with and sometimes as Scottie, and supposedly getting our own kind of pleasure from that watching, Hitchcock turns us into explicit voyeurs, too. But after Madeline's supposed death, the narration shifts to Judy. Suddenly, the object of Scottie's look and desires becomes a person, and we get access to her memories, perspectives, and responses. After Judy shows us the truth of Madeline's death, we learn about another kind of death from her. It happens after Judy and Scottie's first dinner together. Hitchcock uses shadow to darken Judy's face. He wants us to understand that Judy understands that Scottie wants to obliterate her. She's confronted with her own erasure. The cut to her half-lit, which is textbook internal conflict. Yes, her half-lit and green-tinted face makes it seem as if she's disgusted by the whole affair, and what she knows she's going to do. The fade to black at the end of this scene seems to underscore not just Scottie's desire for Judy to be Madeline, which was, by the way, a fantasy who never existed, but also Judy's participation in her own annihilating transformation. After the beauty shop montage, which represents Judy's erasure and transformation into, quote, Madeline, she loses her narrational power, which is handed back to Scottie as his fantasy comes to life.